It's time for Dads Without Dads, a platform created for men who are determined to become the dads we never had. Together, we are building a community of men who have made it a point that they will be responsible to ensure that their children don't pass through some of the things that we pass through, which may include having absent fathers or losing your father at a young age as a result of circumstances beyond our control, or any other circumstances that may make it necessary or possible for someone to grow up without a father. My guest today is an amazing artist, a songwriter, a legend in my books, a childhood friend, a media practitioner, and he also wears so many other hats. We call him Mwanamfumu. Previously, we called him Triple D. And now we call him Damiano Mwanamfumu, a.k.a. Mr. Chilekwa. My brother, how are you doing?
Beautiful intro there. Twalafu nyapo fe legend up. Kairi muzambe ngwaranda at legend nishibari pwa.
Nishibari kusabula kwa tawe. Mwalimu mbakale.
So ana tushe niko.
Okay.
But I mean, it's good to be here, man. Good to see you.
Thanks, man. It's good to see you too. I can't wait to hear more about your story, especially the side of your story that I may not have been privy to, because we grew up in the same environment in Kabwe, and I got to see a bit about you from our high school days at Kabwe Secondary, where we were together in the anti-AIDS club. Apart from that, we also, crossed paths during talent contests like those Trodon promotions that were organized by the late Papa Miki, and several other platforms. But maybe there's a side of you that I never really knew, especially at home, and what your passions were, what your other passions were apart from just the music. It would be great to learn more about how you grew up and the type of home you grew up in. So let's start from your birth. What do you remember as a kid? How was the environment at home? How was it like?
Well, that's amazing. What I remember is that my father loved me. I think that's what... Well, the thing is, I am the only child. And this is why in the Triple D, there was the FLB, so which was first and last born. Of course, I heard many people say it. It's so many other ways. Yeah, so I am the only child. My dad was a teacher in Kabwe. He started from St. Mary's, then went to Mukobeko. From Mukobeko, then he was at Caritas Convent School before he died. He is a man, of course, that worked hard for us, to provide for us, to take care of us. And I mean us because even though I was and still am the only child, we still had a lot other people that lived with us. Akare, ama families kwari wafyatiyo, mwalikwata kwa ma cousins, mwalikwata kwa nabambi wadisa, abafyashi bala misunga. Actually, today I was even, sharing with someone at days yoto wale bati mulekala panganda
about 15
bali samutandala bali samutana nomba pa ifemi toshira kalepa abantu fe batatu zona ai kaba
bale kwanisha shani economy
imagine zona so
imiti mana shipusanako.
I think it's also just maybe they understood the assignment of being a parent, and whatever it is that was in them was facilitating for them to take care of the family. So yes, what I saw in the home was that Dad loved us. He loved me. He loved my cousins. He loved my mother too. And But in his love, there were also moments where he was tough. For me, music has always been my passion. So, kwale wati nipa weekend ni Saturday. So, natupanga fwewe na tu twala kuli wa Emirates mukurekoda, And then, kuma 05, I started knocking, waking me up, and my cousins say, we are going to the farm. Bye. We are going to
the studio.
Imwe, I want to go to the studio. No, if you go to the studio, you don't eat, or we go to the farm. So now you're following behind going to the farm. But obviously he was trying to just to teach us, how to also till the land and the importance of that aspect. So most of the times where we would have tension, if we had tension, is when I have not done what he wanted to do, and I would prefer to do
what you would want to do for yourself,
which was music.
Yeah.
So from music, I went to drama. So I was at Mukobeko. I was in the drama club doing poetry and just also acting. That also he was against, saying, no, you are in school, drama, you will not have time to study, So at some point, if he was here, I would have told him now what I used to think then. But I just, music, he says, no, we are going to do this. Drama, he says, no, you won't have time to study. So I started doing some of these things here kusama. If I've gone for rehearsal, nishi and have to come back early enough. But when I finished grade 12, it's amazing now. You see that it was my number one fan, actually, supporting me in the music and just being there all out. You should see him when he's telling his friends, this
kind of reminds me of my uncle. So I have an uncle called Uncle Chris.
Yeah.
Uncle Chris was a disciplinarian. And so we used to fear him a lot growing up. And then every time you hear, he used to work for Zambia Railways.
Yes.
So every time you hear that he's now coming back from work, he would stamp his feet like, bam, 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 outside. So you just hear that sound like, oh, he's here.
Yeah.
So if you haven't taken a shower, you're in trouble. You have to be seated in the living room and, you're watching TV and whatnot. So, and then he would just shout, Ewe. He just says, Ewe. And there were lots of us, but he's addressing anyone. You just say, Ewe, now Samba, meaning you, have you bathed? So now, at that point, we would always shiver just at his presence, just at the sound of his voice. And we start thinking, oh no, Sambide, so maybe Balanshina and whatnot.
Yes.
But when we grew up later and even just trying to do the whole music thing, I also was hiding it from him. I never wanted him to really know that I do music and whatnot. And he was one of those people that also helped me even with my spiritual life. So he introduced me to the Pentecostal Assemblies of God, and we were going to church together. And so I was like, this whole music thing, maybe if he knows, he'll be disappointed. He'll think I'm a backslider and whatever.
Yes.
But later on, I discovered that there was nothing to fear, actually. He understood what I do. He understood that just because I'm a music artist doesn't necessarily mean I'm a heathen. And he's one of my biggest supporters. And looking back, because Uncle Chris has been like one of those father figures in my life.
Yeah.
Because for me, I never grew up with a dad, So he's been like a father figure. And then I look back, I once came across a birthday card that he bought for me when I was turning 1.
Wow.
So I read it. He used to play rugby. So I read it and it says, Brian Mwaiche, Wakula with lots and lots of love. Next year, nkakutampisha rugby. It was so funny, and I was only
when
one.
you were only one.
Yeah, but looking
And
back, I'm like, oh, he's such a loving man.
Yeah, no,
Like he's such a loving man. So sometimes we get to misunderstand.
Story,
We get to misunderstand some of those gestures from our parents, our fathers, our father figures. Like when you were talking about ukumituma kumabala instead of you going to do whatever you want.
It felt like it was a punishment.
In that moment, right?
Yes, in that moment you feel like, because you've got your own interests, you've got the things that you want to do. So you feel at that point, okoya kumabala, kwati ile chitahinda progress yobe sana, you know? Yeah, but obviously later on we get to learn to say, that's why badi alelandira, you know, alelandira fiafila alechita. So, and also there's also a way that our parents used to, you know, of course fiari chinja ko kwali bakona ma rights abana bali pata ma rights. You spank your child.
Tatakweta ma rights.
Ha. If vale umamdala, you know that when you have done something, he just starts taking off his belt. You know you are in for it. You know, so and sometimes they used to have those, you know, like the hose pipe. They would cut, you know, those two smaller green ones. They would cut either katariko. So badish vanompo wabika pamuru. When there's trouble in the house, you know that you're going to be wired. And one thing I remember is that even though I was the only child, because most of the time they always said, no, lone children are always spoiled because but if me and my cousins did something, it was going to whip all of us. Spare my son. So my mother would be the one who would always be on my side. No, because my mother, I obviously mothers carry the labor pain. So they always feel like their heart is being, but unless she's the one who's beating you. If someone else is beating you, she'll protect.
A problem.
So if my father is beating me, my mother would rush.
She thinks it's more painful.
In fact, in Bwembya words,
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meaning, do you know how labor pains feel like if you kill this child? Leave him alone.
The love of a mother.
If she's the one in charge, you have wronged her, and she's the one no one's going to protect.
She's beating you up with love.
Not even dad
she's
is
like,
going to.
She could also be saying, "Do you know what I went through to bring you here?"
You kill yourself. Now she's not saying you kill the child. She's whipping you and saying, you kill yourself. I told you don't play like that.
Yeah.
Always wear shoes when you're, so.
But it's all love. You see,
it's pure love.
All those things like,
because some of now it's different. But the way we used to play, it's by the grace of God that we are even here. We used to, I don't know if you guys used to do those games that, make those bow and arrow.
We call it bonjaro.
Bonjaro, yes.
Bow and arrow.
You put a
pendo gun.
Yeah, pendo gun. And those
and even kavi.
Yes, and those things were very sharp and dangerous, actually. If they,
but those games,
but we would target each other,
Imagine.
Playing those games. But there's a way we have survived. Yeah, so
dangerous.
In that environment, our parents, and I think there's two also types of parents we had then. We had the actual biological parent or the guardian you lived with. But the entire community, for as long as it's a parent of someone, they were automatically your parent. Actually, what would happen is your friend's parent could actually beat you.
Which can't happen today.
No. You go to court. Today you go to court. I remember there were times that would me and my friends would go and swim. There was a dam nearby.
Yeah.
It was a dirty dam.
Mugadai.
Yes. Would go there. And my friend's dad, saw us. Called us. We all went. I think we were about 5.
And his son was among the people
His
that were
son
swimming.
was amongst us. He whipped us.
All of you.
That's not my father.
He didn't spare these others only to whip his son.
No.
He whipped everyone.
He whipped everyone. And then says, I'm going to tell your fathers. Hey. So you see that dynamic. He would tell our parents, see, I found them there. They were doing this and this, which was wrong. I whipped them. Your father would even go, you did well.
You did well. Thank you.
In fact, he would even say, you have even spared them. Me, I would have whipped them worse.
No, that's a good one. Hold your thoughts. We need to take a short break. This is Dads Without Dads podcast, brought to you by the AIDS Healthcare Foundation. In 2025, the AIDS Healthcare Foundation achieved a big milestone, and we celebrated together in Zambia. The AIDS Healthcare Foundation was able to account for 2.5 million people on treatment around the world. Can you imagine providing medication, antiretroviral treatment to 2.5 million people under their care? And for that, we say big ups to AHF, and they happen to be our supporters of the Dads Without Dads podcast, a place where we are building a community of men who are responsible and are willing to become the dads we never had. We take a break. I'm enjoying this conversation.
I think it's good to, to just look back and just, pick out one of those things, lessons that we were taught, because I think we don't take deliberate time to just reflect and say, okay, I think, our childhood was like this and how it has built us. So this is indeed a
Sometimes
great...
we don't realize that all those things are what shaped us. Sometimes I think we just think like life is just automatic, but we realize that actually by them doing whatever they were doing, our parents were actually quite deliberate, and that's what worked in that time and in that era. That's what worked in terms of disciplining children and raising children. And these days, I'm sure there are other ways that parents are also disciplining their children, despite not wanting other parents to discipline
that one is
the children on your behalf. That's
but
a
it was
tricky one.
good. It was good. All other mothers were your mothers too. Other fathers were your fathers too. So that's how we grew up. And I remember one of the other things that Dad would also scold me over or even whip me over was, which now I see was important because it's one of the things that is actually putting food on the table, is because he used to teach English. So I don't know if to him he thought, even me, it was automatic that I should know those things. So when he gives me an assignment, a test, home assignment, if I get them wrong, I'll be slapped. I was young, very young, but the way you would just treat me, give me assignment, I fail comprehension or all those. It would give me some books, a story to read, and for me to extract something from that, write a comprehension and all those things. But it was tough until he just concluded and said, "You know what? I can't be your tutor. You have to find someone else. You have to start going for tuition, because as long as I'm the one who's teaching you, I'll be slapping you." But so those moments, like, I wouldn't understand why he would slap me for failing some of those tests. But now I tell you, writing is creative writing and just, doing all those things like script writing is what is now my thing. I ended up doing journalism. I think if he didn't, impart me with that element, there was no way I was going to be in the media without understanding, the nouns, the pronouns, and all those things. It was tough then.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense. But by him beating me, by him, trying to teach me, these are the things that are now helping me now.
Yeah.
But of course, if we were to refer it to how we can do it now, it's really, there's a thin line between you going overboard in terms of children's rights and you just managing your home. So I think that's one of the things that is tough.
So
now.
today you qualify to be called a dad without a dad, which is why you are seated where you are seated right now.
Yes.
And I would like to know how that came about. How did you become a dad without a dad? What happened? Does it mean you lost your dad, or where is your dad? Maybe tell us about that.
So my dad died in 2009, I think. Yeah.
2009. That's 17 years ago.
That's 17 years already.
Yeah.
Ish. Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
I've managed that.
Yeah.
17 years without a father.
And 17 years without a
without
father.
a father, imagine. Yeah, of course, with the Father in heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my dad died 17 years ago. And like I said, later on when I finished school, he became my number one fan. So even when I'm here in Lusaka and I needed, how music always needs money. With music, there's no time where it doesn't need money. Even if you have made it, music will still need money.
Right.
And so you still need to. So there were times that I would not have something, or maybe I just needed transport to go to the studio. I knew I'll call my number one fan and say, "Hey, Dad, this week I don't have transport to go Roma side. Roma side. I was coming from PHI to Roma. Yeah, sometimes we would walk when there's no transport to Aptamkalundu all the way. That's how passionate I was about the music. And many others would tell the story about walking. So my dad was there. But then when he died, things changed, because I found myself in times and moments where it's tough and I needed to call my number one fan and say, okay, I need to do this, or I want this, or even just decision making. So slowly it started dawning on me, saying, okay, now I don't have a man to call and just to ask for ideas or decisions, what decision I would make. My father would even know about me having a girlfriend.
Wow.
That's how cool.
Oh,
that's how
so
cool.
you had a very close relationship with him.
It was a good Bali, apart from the beatings.
Yeah.
So he would know my relationships, and obviously out of wisdom, he would find ways of telling me, the nuggets and how I needed to make sure that I picked the right person.
Yeah.
There was a time when I was in some relationship back then, and he was able to tell me, okay, I think maybe wait. And that's how, by the way, that's how I did Yankalako Bad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really? Really?
That's how I did Yankalako Bad, because my father told me, no, you cannot be in a relationship.
Wow.
Now, focus on this. Focus on this. So that's how I now.
Wait, let's see if I can remember the chorus for Yankalako Bad. Yankalako Bad, vaniuza sininga kwatile ine Yankalako Bad, Baniuza cause I'm still young.
Yes.
Yangalako body. Baniuza sininga kukwatile ine yangalako body. Baniuza cause you just too young.
Yes. So now I don't have the courage to go and tell this girl, say, muntu wandi hapa, hii relationship yesu, because my father says, no, I'm too young to get into this. So my way of expression is through music. So went there and recorded Yankala Kobadi, of course, which was facilitated by Mr. Sten Kasengo from Kabwe, who obviously most of us owe prayers to continue praying for him because
Amen.
of what he did for most of us
in
Kabwe. So I did Yankala Kobadi, which he sponsored. And this song for me was a true story, which I was trying to tell this girlfriend who I loved so much. Like, you know. So now I am, fast forward is no longer there. I don't have anyone who can sit me down and tell me the nuggets of life. I have to start now navigating.
Yeah.
So for so many years, I made my own mistakes. I made my own poor judgment. I always say, by the grace of God, we're still alive. But there's so many things, so many decisions that I made which could have been avoided if Bali was around and I had someone, to guide me, to advise me, because he was a friend like that who would, advise. So there were moments where I caught myself actually tearing down because I know I've messed up. I've messed up, and I don't have anyone who I can call, even in the middle of the night, to say, I'm Bali apa, Nif Penya, or I don't know how to
handle this situation.
To handle this situation.
Yeah.
So there are moments, truthfully speaking, even now, as a father, there are moments when it's tough at home. It's tough. I haven't probably managed to sort out certain things. Or sometimes maybe I've just had an argument with my wife.
Right.
And I just feel like, if Bali was here, I would have called him just to just know how did you guys? Because
how did you manage to live together for that long?
So many years.
When someone steps on your feet or you step on their feet,
and
several times.
Never, I don't know. Maybe you ever saw your mother upset.
No,
those people
really.
had a way of getting upset away from us.
Exactly.
But now, you are there.
And when I was having a conversation with Makitu the other week, he was also talking about how we should never underestimate the intelligence of kids because they notice certain things.
Yes.
That if you are arguing, they will notice. Even if you try to pretend that you're not arguing, they'll still notice the mood between the two of you. Sometimes you find that you're not talking to your partner and your kid is trying to pull you in that direction. Come and see, mommy.
Yes. No, I've had those moments. Where, my daughter would, you are seated and you're obviously not talking, and my daughter would just stand in the middle and say, Mama, Dada. And
sometimes that hold hands.
Yeah, and now what happens is that both of you, each one is trying to smile, but you are hiding because you are both upset
with each other.
So those two my minions have got a way of sensing the mood in the house.
Yeah, because they are peaceful beings.
Yeah.
So they are all about peace. So where there is no peace, they can sense it.
Yeah. So now imagine there were no moments in our childhood
where you would notice those
just
things.
Notice and shun. Your mother will cook, you eat, and everything just goes on well. So those are the moments as a father now you wish there was that man you could call and share. Of course, there are times I had the privilege to I have a grandpa. My grandfather who's also very cool. Like
Yeah.
him, I think is double my father. Him, you
I've
would,
heard you speak about him quite a lot, and you've
ah,
also lived with him, right?
yes,
Yes,
I,
yes.
from
So
when
he's
I
also
moved,
been like a father figure in
yes,
your life.
he actually almost like quickly just closed the gap. I remember in just like my father, one time when I messed up, he actually chased me, chased me from his house. Say, because there's my lifestyle was a bit different then when I was still not so much of church and
Yeah.
not yet a gospel
Yeah.
artist. So he was also tough, but very nice. But I've had moments with him, especially I remember when he had a stroke, and I was the one who went with him to South Africa for treatment. So we stayed there, I think, almost about 3 months. So though in those moments, he would be, when he was recovering, there were times that he would just say, from nowhere, you're just quiet, and he would just say, so, but Damiano, mule uparwisa, So I would laugh, and then I would say, no, I haven't found a woman yet. From there, a conversation would start. He would start telling me, yeah, no, Mwandi, you need to take your
Take your
time.
time.
Women are like this, this. So he's the one that now, stood in like someone I would really,
Yeah.
call on. So what I've realized that, which is why I think this platform is good, men don't really have what I would call safe spaces where
Right.
they would just go and just pour out themselves and say, Mwana,
I'm going through
I'm
this.
going through this. It's a bit tough because the fear is if I come to you, B-Flow, and tell you, boy, me, things are like this, and I don't know, maybe I'll become a subject when you meet with other people. So we always try to look for this man in our life who could, and mostly it's your father or your uncle or your grandfather who you could trust.
Who your information will be safe with.
Yes.
Wow.
So those, I think, are platforms that we need to create as men to know
Yes.
that we are safe. Even if I went and poured out and said, hapana ikaba, I think I'm failing to manage my home because of ABCD. There's someone who can still take in that information and probably even just help you navigate.
Wonderful. That's powerful, man. I really, really love that. You've made me understand the reason we're ever on a search, because I've had moments where I meet a man who is the age that I would consider the age of my father, right?
Yes.
Like there's one moment my daughter was unwell and I was looking for a doctor that could attend to the situation. So I went into this office and I met Dr. Sichizia.
Yeah,
Dr.
yes,
Sichizia is actually a believer.
Yes.
And so the first thing he does when he receives you, he even prays for you, So he prayed for us, myself, my wife, and my daughter. And while we were in there, after he explained whatever was going on, because we were so stressed, about the situation at that particular point.
Especially if it's new to you.
It's
You've
new to
never
you. You're a new
experienced,
dad. You don't
Yes.
really know these things, and so you're confused. So I went to him. I could trust him because I felt like he's like a father figure. So after he spoke, it's like he read my mind and whatever I was going through, and he gave me a hug. Just the moment he hugged me, I broke down.
Yeah.
I broke down and I felt like I needed this. And I felt like I'm this kid. And
Yes.
I'm an adult where I
Yes,
am,
but one forgot
But I felt like
mwana.
and then I was like, I didn't realize I needed this. I needed someone who's like a father to
Yes,
speak to
yes.
me, to make me feel better about this situation. And after that, I felt way better. It made me realize that,
Yeah.
I've been missing something in
Yeah.
my life.
No, we do. A father still needs a father's love.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you can't go to the grave and say, daddy, I did a bad pamanda. I mean,
By the way, I wanted to rewind a bit. Where were you when your dad passed? What do you remember about that moment?
When he was sick, of course, because it was a period of time that he was sick, I was in Kabwe, but because I was working on an album then, um, Digital X, so I stayed, I think, there for almost a month. So then I went to him and said, "Oh, can I go back and because now he's discharged and he's at home? Can I go back to Lusaka and continue recording my album?" I say, yeah, no problem. Yeah, we'll be talking. So I came back to Lusaka and then continued with the music thing and recording. Then I think should be 1 week later or 2 weeks later. I received a call. And you know how these things are, eh? It's like when you've left someone not feeling well, and then you see a phone call. There are those phone calls that just, and I delayed to pick that phone call.
Because you had a fear subconsciously.
Yes, the fear in me just, I was like, this phone call
might deliver unfortunate news.
And indeed it was some sad news. But what happened is that some I think an hour before, mom called and said, your father wants to talk to you. Okay.
Before that?
Before he died. But when he was given the phone, he didn't have, like, I couldn't hear anything. He wasn't audible enough to explain whatever he wanted to communicate. But they said he really wanted to talk, to talk to me. And in that moment, of course, mom told me, no, we're going to the hospital. We are taking him to the hospital. I said, okay, Mwalanjeba, what will happen, or what the doctor will say. And from what mom told me, actually, they didn't even reach the doctor's room. It was just, by the benches. And then he died. So obviously my mind keeps processing, even up to now, what information did he want to pass on to me? What did he want to tell me? What are those? Probably those are some of the things that would have probably, been my benchmark each time I have those moments to say, I need to look at something and say, I need to go back to this moment. So you are searching for solutions or answers to certain things, and you just keep feeling that maybe that's what he wanted to tell me. Yeah. Maybe those were the last nuggets. Because you see, like in the Bible setup, there was always a time when a father would bless the child or their son, especially when they were older and they knew they were dying. There was just that last blessing that they would, bless the child. And it was tradition. Father needed to bless. They always, yes, you lived with them, but there was a moment of releasing the blessing.
Wow.
So times when it's hard for me and I knock here, I knock there, I try this, I try that, I always feel I missed that father impartation of that last, blessing that didn't.
Are you deliberate about releasing a blessing on your? How many kids you have?
2.
Are you deliberate about blessing them?
I do that every day.
Wonderful.
Actually, one thing I learned is when I'm stepping out, especially when I'm going maybe out of town, I always, kiss my children and say, God loves you, God bless you.
I love you.
Because every day you never know what happens.
Life is unpredictable.
So I don't want to be in my father's shoes of never having an opportunity
Said,
to release
those words.
those blessings. So yes, I blessed them. God gracious, I still managed to go back home safe. Tomorrow morning, I'm leaving. I'll still bless them.
Amen.
Because that's now become a part of me. I said I need to, to always find a way of making up on what could have been.
I love that. I love that you're
to.
very intentional about that. Let's talk about the moment you became a dad. What do you remember, first of all, when you were told that you are going to be a dad? What was going through your mind?
I don't know if it's those things we watch in the movies are just for movies or I think as men, we're very different, different humans. And actually, when my wife told me, because we had a period when we were anticipating and praying.
It wasn't happening.
And it wasn't happening. And for my wife, it was becoming like an emotional thing. So sometimes you just find your friend is emotional. It's because they've been praying and they wish that it could happen sooner. Because I mean, obviously, in our culture, that's what we've always believed. It's almost like you get married today, tomorrow.
They start counting down for you.
There's that, or you need to go back and say, oh yeah, we're expecting. So there's society piling up the pressure. So my wife is in that space of feeling like that. But for me, I think I'm cool. I'm like, okay, we'll love the child. And actually, that's what I would say. God is the one who gives. So we'll love the child when God gives. So when the news comes, she's excited, super, super excited, and she shows me and said, you'll be a dad. And split seconds, I'm caught in between silence and wanting to speak. And I'm like, oh, okay. That's all I said. And she's like, that's all you can say. yeah. Then quickly, now she was but the inner me is excited, happy, but I just don't know how to express it the way they do it in movies. Like I just don't know how to. I am happy. Like truly, I am so happy. But I don't know as a man. Just I don't know if it happens to other men, but just didn't know how to. But obviously, after sometimes stood up, gave her a warm hug. And, obviously just told her, you see, I told you God is good and he always blesses. But obviously our first born child was so much of a bigger lesson in our marriage, because we lost my son at 5 months.
Oh.
Yeah. So the child is born, you are happy, you are celebrating. So that 5 months is still a period of celebrating and, thanking God for this child and just, feeling like a father, and also a son for me was a joy because I would always, I remember many times I would lift him and do one of those Lion King thing and say, yeah, behold the king, so he was like my buddy.
Yeah.
And so to lose the child was so painful and still is. I can't lie. It's like 5 years now. But I don't think I have really gotten over it. And also it's because I've never had moments, like I said, to, sit down with a father who has probably lost their child before and just to have that experience. Of course, there were few people that would come from church and share their experiences, but obviously there may not be people that you constantly call pakati kabo. You can say, yes, you know what, I think today I'm emotional and I am breaking down. So I think it was a test for my fatherhood as a new dad. And already, just like you mentioned, you go to the hospital, you don't know what to do. Aba ananga alwala, if you can't understand, because it has never happened to you. But someone who has got 4 or 5 children, the 5th child gets sick, they will know, okay, for this one, this is what we did last time. This is what, this we can panic, this we can't panic, we just do this, So that was a tough time for me as a man. Also because I needed to still be the husband. I've lost a child.
Same time.
Yes, but I still needed to be a strong husband.
And you need to be there for your wife who was going through maybe even deeper emotions.
Yes.
My goodness.
So I have no time to release it.
Because you're also busy comforting your wife.
Yeah, and still I have to keep going on by the daily pursuits, because when it's not like when you've lost a child, now
the bills are also waiting for you.
The landlord will understand that, okay, no, don't pay rent. So you are in that space where you've not had really real time to pour out, or to have a father or a mentor to share that and just speak with.
You still have to think.
You still have to think about
money.
how it's going to be tomorrow. How are you going to make that money? So it was an emotional, roller coaster, and just a period of testing as a father. And that there are moments I would cry because I've missed both my son and my father. So I'm thinking, if my father was around, he probably would have given me more wisdom how to navigate through these things. Sometimes it gets a toll on you that you have serious mental breakdown if you're not careful. But obviously, by the grace of God, He has given us, 2 beautiful daughters, and He's consoled us and just been there for me. I think He's the one that I looked to always and say, you know what, I have moments where I'm talking to God and I'm like, just like and I'm like, Dad, I don't have a father, so I don't know how I'm going to sort out these things. Please come in, intervene. So I've built a relationship with God.
Yes.
In that aspect. Also, I'm very introvert, for lack of a better term.
Yes,
so,
yes. I've seen that about you. You rarely speak up, even when you are going through certain things. And sometimes I think about you and I'm just thinking, I hope he's okay. Yeah.
But now you're thinking about me. And you see, that's the thing about men.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. That's our weakness.
Yeah, you can call me and I'll say, actually, I was thinking about you. But
there's another dynamic that I am beginning to learn as well. It's difficult.
Yeah.
Because it's difficult for me. I feel like it's also difficult for you to tell me.
It's difficult
for
most
now,
men.
When we are done recording this, I will speak to you. There are 2 people that have been on my mind and I've been so bothered about them. But I don't know how I'm going to face these 2 men. Maybe you help me after this. But it's one of those things where at a distance, I can see that this guy is going through stuff. But then I don't know how I will approach them.
Yeah.
Since they haven't approached me and yet we are close.
Yeah.
Like we talk, I try to check on them, but I don't know how to.
It's difficult to go to a man and try and speak to them about what you think they're going through if they haven't opened up to you. Because either they will say, no, boy, in different we know, because we have that natural ego. So we don't want anyone to know that we have this struggle. We don't want anyone to know that we are falling out on some ways, So men can even meet, and chat, watch soccer, laugh, play together. But then when the other is driving back home, is all teary you're driving and emotional and you're crying because you feel like maybe I should have opened up, So I think it's difficult for me to call you and ask how you're doing, but it's also difficult for you to call me and just say things are tough, or boy, how do I? Women are very good at those things.
Yes.
They
even do it over the phone sometimes.
They would say, I'm one day, so maybe
I'm going to talk to my sister about it.
They'll even say, oh no, Ndelombako, this weekend, if I can just go and visit my sister. 2-3 days. Oh no, my wife, I'm asking that maybe this weekend I want to go by Biflo's house, just spend 2 days and just cool down. Let's
First of all, I could just suspect that where do you want to go?
What's the
agenda?
Maybe
What's
you're
the
even
plan?
just using Biflo as a scapegoat.
Can't you've got an agenda?
Else.
You want to go and be with Mirika or Miniva.
You see? So it's tough.
It's hard to be a man. It's tough to be a man. It's not easy.
Worse to be a dad.
It's not easy. Yeah.
I always say that, even when things are tough, your children don't know that things are tough. And it's actually not even their fault that things are tough. So whether they are tough, things are tough, you can't go to your child and explain to say, okay, so today you won't have diapers because it's tough, or you won't eat your porridge. You know as a father that, yes, it's tough, but by the time I'm going home, I must have diapers, I must have porridge. You see?
Yeah.
So those are things that we actually probably have never given credit to our fathers for, or our guardians, because all the times that they would come with bread, it's not that because they had money.
But they had to find a solution.
They knew that my children, things are tough, whether things are okay, my children have to eat. So each time Barry will come with bread. Hey, you run here, bread, that does come with bread. And every day, bread tayari shorter.
Because it's a responsibility that we have signed up for.
Yes.
And so we have to tell ourselves that whether I like it or not, I have to be the provider and the protector.
Yes.
And being a provider, what I am learning in my own journey is that being a provider doesn't just end at providing material things.
Yes. Yeah.
It can also include providing emotional support. It may also mean providing security and providing
Especially
in so many other aspects of
pouring
life.
out the knowledge, the wisdom.
You are providing knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you want your children to experience a better life than you had. For me, actually, I have heard people that look down on, I don't know why, look down on people that are now probably running their father's businesses. Maybe the father is long gone and someone is running their father's business, or someone is now living in their house that the father left, and they say, yes, that's what actually the Bible says.
But the Bible talks about a good man
leaves an inheritance for his children
and children's children.
His children's children.
So meaning that we are assigned to be wealthy.
Generational wealthy. That's what you and me are supposed to make.
Nice.
Okay, so that our children should not start from zero. Okay, if my child is going to also pursue music, my child should not go through the same process I went through to access a record. Probably my child should even find a studio, okay, so that they be able to easily execute their dreams. Why I was going, or I'm going through certain things to to shape my future is that so that my daughter doesn't go through. So I really don't understand.
Yeah.
I've had conversation where fathers, like my peers who are fathers would say, no, I stopped doing this for them, because they need to understand life is tough. No. No. Me, I don't believe in
I
it.
like how you refuse that because you sound like Makitu in the other episode where he was saying, just because you went through those things doesn't mean that even your kids should go through them. Just because you've had trauma doesn't mean you should put that trauma on your kids just because. So he literally says, you need healing. You are broken.
Yes, actually, I agree. Because if you are going to pass on your experience, your trauma to your child, then
you are broken, you need healing.
Yeah, because the Bible says if a father that fails to provide for his children is worse than a non-believer.
Wow.
Is worse. Now, if they say he's worse, they're not saying he's a non-believer. He's worse. He's actually a devil himself.
But
So,
I hear you.
You are doing this
as you are speaking. Sorry to
cut
cut you. As you were speaking about not believing in this whole notion that people should not celebrate the inheritances that they get from their parents once their parents are gone, I couldn't help but think about someone like Mr. Simon, Mr. Chitambala.
Hey,
Chitambala
people insult that man.
People insult him all the
wisdom.
time. And he carries it with grace, and he's there proudly showing you that it's possible to manage what your father left for you.
Yes, and he's done well.
To this day, a lot of people think that his name is Simon Mwewa. He's not. His name is Chitambala Mwewa. But because he carries his father's name because of the street, Simon Mwewa Lane, the Samuelson building, which is named after his father.
Do you know that your name can actually secure a job for your daughter in the future?
When you have a great name.
Your name. When you build a legacy on your name.
Paris we saw you. And mwana wa Badismo. Oh, sure.
So by some of it, Dismo. No. Now my interviews were bypass. Their names.
Do you know how Dismo's music helped me when I was going through ABCD? I'm going to give this child a job, or I'm going to recommend her.
Your father was my teacher. I've had privileges, I've met people who have told me, your father was my teacher, and he was a very good teacher. Okay, let me try and see what I can help. Maybe you're trying to there are places which are tough. Maybe the passport office, you're supposed to go through here and there. Then you find someone who just remembers, your father, Chilekwa, which Chilekwa is this one? Or from Kab, your father was right. Okay, just wait here. Wafumana mukyu. So that's what we need to build legacy for our children.
Thank you for explaining that scripture. Actually,
do you ever hear anyone insulting a kapwepwe? No.
We respect them actually.
That name,
kapwepwe.
You have a tag. You go into an office.
Yeah.
As long as you've got that name. Wow. That's what I believe. So I laugh when people say, Fyuma vyaba fyashibako. Echo bale pibira ba wish so that yena piba. Of course, it's different when the children are misusing.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't work that in case by Saonaola. No, we should work with a positive mind to say, I am building this for my children.
And you give them the tools to manage whatever it is that you're building.
So we should be better dads. Not if we feel about it, but inena lea ne sapato ya turika ku school. Ero yore for bata shoes. Our fashion now I'm going to in sapato na yo naika. Ero bakupela story for vale in from. No, me I used to walk from Chirubi Island who go with a boat to go to school. You children of nowadays, that's why, yes, you went through that phase. I can't also go to Chirubi Island and be at the same school you were. No, you came to town, changed their life so that I go to a better school. So that's what God demands of us.
Wow, powerful. So we're going to take our final break, and when we get back, we conclude because Mr. Damiano has a lot to share, especially because he's a pastor.
No.
Let's take a break. The Dads Without Dads podcast continues. As we conclude,
Yes, sir.
we were speaking in the background and you mentioned something very important, therapy, which is something that is very almost foreign to Africans,
No, it
because
is.
for us, we've been raised to just be tough, figure it out.
You just,
They
a
will
man
even
has
tell
to be
you,
tough.
mamuna, iwe nkana mamuna iwe na iwe. Why wamba po dandaula na iwe? Chan. If you hear that someone took their life, you even say, but you zo no, enze wiki zo nai. You know, these are the realities of our lives as Africans. But now, this dynamic is beginning to change, and I love what we are discussing, because I can hear that you are this man who's ready and willing to be vulnerable. It has not always been like that for you, but you're willing to
because
learn.
you find the space.
Same for me, man. And that's why the people that are supporting this podcast, the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, I love the fact that they have opened what they're calling men's clinics.
Wow, that's awesome.
So these are wellness clinics that provide safe spaces for men to be able to go and discuss certain things, including STIs, just in case unabunkisa or something.
Yeah, and you can't
know,
tell anyone.
or you just want to know your HIV status, or maybe your status is positive, but you just want to be counseled.
Some privacy,
Yes, so they create these safe spaces where you don't have to go through the judgment that you can face sometimes. It's confidential, and sometimes they will even meet you elsewhere, away from the facility.
That's a good one.
You can make those arrangements.
Because obviously the fear of kuingira pageti wakumona tu yo.
And when you're a public figure, even worse. When you're known, na kwa kalishina. So they have all these spaces. So one is in Lusaka. The one in Lusaka is called Lusungu.
Yes,
yes, Lusungu Men's Clinic. And then there's another one on the Copper Belt. It's called New Masala. That's in Ndola. So I think that a lot of men like ourselves should take time to visit those facilities.
Yeah.
Even just to go and see what happens there. And maybe so in conclusion, why do you think that it's important for men to talk, or men to go through some sort of maybe therapy?
I think why it is special for having that such platforms, or even like the one you've mentioned, is because men have bottled a lot of issues. You know, it might be work issues, it may be other burdens, or even just sicknesses. It's always tough for a man to open up, and this is why you see that a lot of men die. Why? Because they've got so much in them that they haven't shared with anyone. Of course, for fears that we mentioned. Therapy is in our society. It's a bit tricky and tough, but I think it's something that we need to now be able to open up and accept.
Embrace.
Because once, I believe, like once you have spoken to someone, once you have shared, or even just by virtue of us discussing, there's just something that becomes lighter in me. You know, it feels like
a problem shared is halfway
solved. You get it. So I think therapy, it's something I've never done.
Same here. I'll be very honest with you.
Yeah,
I hear about it.
Yeah.
I believe in what it represents, but I've never done it.
I've been taught several times, actually, after losing our son, that you should go for therapy, you know, because someone actually realized that I haven't really healed from that trauma. But
we should try it out.
I think I need to just gather the
confidence to accept
it's
it.
It's very key. It's a key thing. But irafe confidence yako imafe atoke
nomba walikulaze tough on.
Nomba na amkulondolera umunandi umuntu
problems ya ndio nsoku ya pouring
but
up
of course those are professional people. They know how to handle situations. So I think
with confidentiality as well.
I think after this I might consider doing therapy. And I think it should be for all men. Please don't die alone. Don't die alone. A lot of men are, climbing towers, and also some throwing themselves in dams and just doing all sorts of things, as some have gone to substance abuse because of things that they are going through. So I think let's go for therapy.
Wonderful. Damiano, you've been such a great guest, and I would like to have you again on another episode of this same show, The Dads Without Dads, because we have a lot to talk about, and I hope that you can come back.
Definitely. I will come back.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I've been speaking to Damiano, and when we took the last break, actually, the director was busy wrapping us up and saying, time is up. And when I was jokingly saying, it's because Damiano is a spiritual person, is a man of God, so he wants to speak more. There's something profound that he said, which has spoken to me. He said, it's because as men, we rarely have these conversations. So when you get a platform like this, it's like you want to pour out. And that's why we started the Dads Without Dads podcast, where men can pour out and have all these conversations without feeling judged, and always just feeling like at least there's a place which can be a safe space for men. And that's exactly what we're trying to achieve with this. And when he said that, it moved me and I loved it. And I hope that you too can relate. Let us know if you know any men that you think would be a good fit for this show, for them to come and share some of their stories, to encourage men out there, especially men that grew up without a dad, because we are determined to become the dads we never had. And of course, we can't just end without acknowledging some of the amazing people that make this show possible, starting with the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, who are supporting us with the production of this show by way of supporting the whole process. And big salute to our producer, the Naveen Agency, not forgetting our main man, Big Man X, our director. We are also grateful to our DOP, Prince Gift, not forgetting our logistics manager, Mr. Dennis D2 Mulongoti, our runner, Mr. Keshas Mushas Mumba, and our production partners, Terrence Pictures, and most importantly right now, the guest himself, Mr. Damiano Chilekwa. See you on the next episode of Dads Without Dads.